Russian President Vladimir Putin is threatening to walk away from the Black Sea grain deal unless some Western sanctions against his country are lifted. The deal brokered by Turkey and the United Nations has allowed ships to carry Ukrainian food exports from Black Sea ports since last summer. It is due to expire on Monday. The change would affect millions of people across the globe who depend on the grain and other food products that come from Ukraine, which is a major supplier of crops such as maize, wheat, and barley and sunflower oil.
33 million tons of grain and other foods have been exported by Ukraine since last July. That's despite a brutal war that's massively impacted farming. A grain deal has at least got things moving. But whenever it needs to be renewed, Russia threatens to pull out. And experts warn that would have profound effects.
If the deal is not renewed, we would see significant impacts on global food prices and on global food security for millions of people around the world.
Before the war broke out, Ukraine supplied enough grain to feed around 400 million people across the globe, many of them in developing countries. But Russia's invasion meant exports all but stopped. The agreement to get Ukrainian foods moving again was brokered by Turkey and the UN last July. It guaranteed safe shipping routes via the Black Sea for hundreds of ships from Ukraine. After the vessels had been inspected in Istanbul, they travelled onwards, playing a crucial role in easing a global food crisis. But Russian President Vladimir Putin has used it to try to squeeze out concessions from the West. They include demanding an end to blockages on some Russian exports. If the grain deal were to collapse, there would be a high price to pay. In a world where hunger is yet again on the rise, that's a situation that most want to avoid at all costs.
All right, for more now, I'm joined by James Hodson. He is co-founder of Economists for Ukraine. He joins me tonight from Italy. James, it's good to have you with us. What are you expecting? Are you expecting this Monday deadline to come and go with a deal in place?
Thanks for having me on the show, Brent. So it's clear that what the Russians are trying to do here is extract as much surplus and play their bargaining chip at this point in time. I think that there will be a renewed deal of some sort. It's unclear right now to what extent the people involved have power over the specific requests that Russia might be making. I don't think that there will be a failure to reach an agreement. It may not be on Monday. Russia has kind of pulled out strategically for a few days in the past before renewing. But I'm pretty sure that the two sides are close enough to pull something off.
So you're confident that we'll see some type of deal, if not Monday, sometime next week. You don't think it would last longer than several days beyond the deadline?
I don't think so. Now, there is another aspect to this, which is if you look at the number of inspections that have been happening and the number of ships that have been departing the port over the last couple of months, or two ports in particular that are main ports, it's been down drastically, right? The current rate is about 10 times lower than in the 12 months before. And that's definitely something that will be weighing on people's minds over the coming days, right? Which is how much does the deal really impact food exports, especially when you consider that a lot of the world is adapting to the situation over the last year.
And yeah, adapting to the situation. Is the world learning how, especially these developing countries that depend on particularly Ukrainian grain, are they finding other sources, other places where they can buy the food to feed their people? Is that what is happening?
Well, I think Russia is certainly finding other ways to export its supplies of grain kind of through its partner countries in the region. And Ukraine has been doing a better job at exporting through the rail and other transit routes into Europe, which brings its own complications, as we know. And certainly, globally speaking, there have been efforts to ensure that the gaps are filled. And if you look at kind of the risk profile based from the prices of corn, for instance, over the last few weeks, they're certainly not as volatile as we may have seen a few months ago under similar circumstances, which indicates that there has been adaptation.
James Hodson joining us tonight with Economists for Ukraine. James, we appreciate your time and your insights. Thank you.
Thank you.